Now on CoastTV News.
A protest on the coast, what hundreds of people in Sussex County were protesting against. Shots fired in Lewes, what state police know about this shooting.
And it feels downright summer-like on Delmarva this Saturday, and we are going to continue to see those mild conditions through this evening, but I'm tracking slightly cooler air for our Easter Sunday, but all in all, a pretty nice Sunday on tap. We'll talk when our next chance of rain arrives back on Delmarva in our full forecast coming up.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
A protest at the nation's summer capital. Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 6. We begin tonight with that protest in Rehoboth Beach. It's been a familiar scene if you drive on Coastal Highway on Saturday mornings. And on your screen now is that protest organized by Southern Invisible Delaware, protesting the Trump administration. And be sure to join us for CoastTV News at 11 for more on this protest and one that took place at the bandstand in Rehoboth Beach. Now to Rehoboth's boardwalk. Fences are up on the north end of the boardwalk, preparing for demolition to start on Monday of the grottos and old motel behind it. And this is the first step towards building the One Rehoboth Avenue Hotel that will range from Baltimore Avenue all the way to Rehoboth Avenue. Demolition is set to begin on Monday, and one local Coast TV spoke with says at the end it will all be worth it.
Well, that's probably like a time where you wouldn't want it to start, but I think once they get it going, it'll be another great place for someone to stay.
Rehoboth Beach has a ban on demolition starting on May 15th, so work will have to pause at that point, but work will resume back in September when that ban is up. In Lewes, Delaware State Police say shots were fired between 8 and 10 p.m. this Wednesday. On your screen now is the 30,000th block of Pinetown Road in Lewes. Troopers say an unknown number of shots hit a house and a car by an unknown shooter, but nobody was hurt. DSP are investigating this shooting and asking if you know any information about this, contact authorities. In Bethany Beach, police are seeing an increase in packages of being stolen off of doorsteps. Bethany police say to keep an eye out for suspicious activity and to protect yourself from porch pirates. Police say to try and be available for deliveries when they arrive and require signatures for your packages and also track your packages. If you notice any criminal activity near your home or neighborhood, report it to authorities. If you plan on heading to the Lewes-Georgetown Trail next week, here is an update. DelDOT is announcing a closure. The agency says it's in an effort to control vegetation that will use herbicide in the area. The closure is planned for Wednesday, April 23rd, with weather permitting. There is a rain date for Thursday. DelDOT says work takes place from midnight to 8 a.m. and the herbicide isn't dangerous to people or wildlife. A seal rescued at Gordon's Pond in Rehoboth is on the road to recovery. The National Marine Wildlife Center says the seal is now receiving treatment for malnutrition, infections, and parasites. Sussex County Emergency Management is reminding everyone if you use a generator to always keep it outdoors and at least 20 feet away from windows and doors. And this helps prevent carbon monoxide poisoning and reduces the risk of electric shock during severe weather. And we're now going to take a live look into Milford. We bring in our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, for a look at our Easter weekend forecast. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Brandon, and it's been quite a warm day, to say the least. Feeling quite summer-like. We had a few clouds to start the day, then we had some sunshine throughout the day, and now we have a few more clouds rolling in. Partly sunny skies currently in Salisbury, 78 degrees there. You can see winds out of the south at about 14 miles an hour, and we are warm virtually everywhere. Bethany, 80, 81 in Rehoboth, we're at 81 in Redden, and we're at 79 in Seaford. So quite a nice warm start to our Easter weekend as we see those clouds filtering over, and we see a few showers and severe thunderstorms back all through Ohio, western Pennsylvania. These are all pushing off to the northeast. We don't have any shower or storms to contend with, but this cold front is going to be slicing through as we push in through the overnight, and that's going to just add some added cloud cover. We're looking excellent, yes, Brandon, for our Sunday. 70s inland, 50s and 60s at the coast, partly sunny skies. We stay pretty seasonable into Monday, and I think the rain chances are going to hold off at least through Tuesday morning, and then we stay dry most of the week, and then we're looking at a better chance of rain not until next weekend. We'll talk more about your Easter coming up a little bit later on the newscast. Brandon.
Thank you, Chris. And excellent is definitely better than excellent this weekend. The deadline to get your real ID is quickly approaching. Starting May 7th, we'll all need one to fly domestically. The Delaware Department of Transportation and the Division of Motor Vehicles are urging people to check their real ID status. Officials say more than 742,000 Delawareans are already real ID compliant, and they say those that are not should get to the DMV as soon as possible and come prepared.
You will need two proofs of your Delaware address, proof of your Social Security card, and proof of name change. So if you've been married, bring in your marriage certificate, married and divorced, your marriage certificate, and your divorce decree, and just bring those to a Delaware Division of Motor Vehicle location.
For those that do not make it to the May 7th deadline, a passport or global entry will still get you on board a flight, and you can still get a real ID after the May 7th deadline at the DMV. In the recently finalized Maryland budget, some help for the Chesapeake Bay and communities along its shores. $400 million are headed to restore the Bay economy. According to the Maryland Department of the Environment, this is a part of the Bay's $3 billion overall economy. The department says the Chesapeake Bay will also use this money for upgraded wastewater treatment plants and living shorelines. And that money will also support work that keeps the bay clean.
Well, we'll be about 10 to 15 degrees cooler for our Easter Sunday, all thanks to a cold front that's going to be pushing through tonight. And we'll keep the cloud in play through Monday with a late shower. I think the shower chance holds off until Tuesday. We'll talk more about those rain chances coming up in my full 7-day forecast here in minutes.
On what President Trump is threatening if a deal isn't reached. We have that story next after the break here on Coast TV News at 6.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
A second round of talks between the United States and Iran got underway today. According to an Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson, indirect talks took place between U.S. Mideast envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Arakaki in Rome, Italy today. President Trump repeatedly has threatened to unleash airstrikes targeting Iran's nuclear program if a deal isn't reached. And Iranian officials increasingly warned that they could pursue a nuclear weapon with their stockpile of uranium enriched to near weapons grade levels. The Supreme Court has ordered the Trump administration not to deport alleged Venezuelan gang members in Texas. Administration officials have sought to deport these alleged gang members under a wartime law called the Alien Enemies Act. Today, the Supreme Court did not grant or deny an application filed by lawyers and the detainees, but effectively hit pause on the case, which affects people currently held within the jurisdiction of the Northern District of Texas. The order states in part that no deportation should occur until further order of the court. It comes after lawyers defending the detainees asked several federal courts for emergency orders to prevent deportations to Salvadorian mega prison.
Well, we are looking pretty nice for those Easter brunch plans tomorrow morning. Now, we will see a few clouds to start the day, but temperatures are going to be rising through the 60s and eventually the lower 70s with some sunshine by the afternoon. We'll talk more about your Easter and when we'll see some rain chances roll back into the fold coming up on Coast TV News at 6 continues. Well, we are feeling quite summer-like on Delmarva this Saturday, and a good thing the humidity levels are low. Pretty dry out there, but we did get temperatures into the lower to mid-80s throughout much of the peninsula today. We're holding at 79 degrees in Cambridge under partly sunny skies. 63-degree dew point. Winds are out of the north at about 6 miles an hour. We'll see mostly cloudy skies through the evening and overnight as we fall to 73 by around 10. So a beautiful evening ahead. You can see right now we're holding 81 Rehoboth, 80 Bethany, away from the coast 79 Georgetown, 79 in Seaford, and we're at 79 in Delmar. You can see winds out of the southwest, still gusting upwards of 15 to 20 miles an hour across the area. 83 was our high today in Georgetown after a morning low of 64. The average 68, and yes, we were far from that record 91 set back in 1976. Well, you don't need me to tell you. You can see that green powder on your windshield, on your patio. Yes, that tree pollen very high. The oak, the ash, the birch, and we'll continue to see that high pollen in the easter. We need some rain to kind of put a damper on that. We have a small craft advisory up through 2 a.m. for the Delaware coast. Further to the south along southern Delmarva, that runs through 1 a.m. On the bay side, we have that up through 12 a.m. tonight. Now we see just a few clouds rolling over the peninsula. Showers, a few severe thunderstorms well off to our west across western Pennsylvania and Ohio. This cold front is going to be sagging southward into the overnight, but we're going to keep our rain chances at bay at least through the weekend, and then we'll ramp those rain chances up Tuesday morning as that front pushes through, and then we'll really see those rain chances increase late in the week. A mild night once again, falling into the lower to mid 60s, and our Easter Sunday shaping up to be quite nice. Cloudy to start, but I think we'll see a good bit of sunshine through the afternoon as we rise into the lower 70s for much of Delmarva. 71 Milford, we'll see 66 Lewes, 64 Rehoboth Beach, and we'll see highs 72 Cambridge, 77 Salisbury, and we're at 71 in Ocean City. So Futurecast shows the clouds. Note the wind direction. That's the front passing through, a dry front, but by the afternoon I think we see a good bit of sunshine. 50s, though, at the coast. I think we'll hit our highs earlier in the day, and then with that east wind kicking in. And then by Monday, we'll see more of a southeasterly wind. 70s in the eastern shore, cooler at the coast. Winds out of the north tomorrow, gusting upwards of 20. And then we'll see more of that southeasterly wind kicking in by Monday. So a lot of clouds along Chickateague and Assateague as we round out Easter weekend and start the week. 71 Fenwick Island on Sunday. We're at 64 on Monday. Easter Sunday, Lewes, Rehoboth, we're in the mid to upper 60s. More clouds Monday, and then those showers roll in. It looks like early Tuesday through midday as the front sags through, and then we dry things out into Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday. Looking pretty nice. 78 Tuesday after the morning rain. 72 into Wednesday. Looking pretty dry and calm for most of the week. And then we see the more significant chance of rain by Saturday.
Thank you, Chris. And now to sports with a heartwarming story. The Los Angeles Fire Department and California's first responders are being honored in a big way by the NFL. The team is paying homage to the Southern California firefighters following the deadly wildfires earlier this year. A room in the building will be modified for the general manager and head coach draft headquarters, and a separate hangar will house coaches, scouts, team personnel, and the media. And the NFL draft begins on April 24th. Into the Trenches is back for its third season this year. We follow the Cape Henlopen Vikings football team fresh off of their first state championship appearance in 40 years. Into the Trenches premieres Thursday, April 24th at 7:30 on DSN and DSN+. Coming up, a new rule making it easier to fire federal workers. But first, a small plane crash leaving 3 dead in Nebraska last night. We have what authorities know next. 3 people were killed in a small plane crash just south of Fremont, Nebraska last night. The crash happened just after 8 p.m. when the aircraft went into the Platte River. All 3 people on board were killed during the crash. Authorities have recovered their bodies from the water but have not shared their identities. It is unclear what caused the plane to go down, and the investigation is ongoing. President Trump says his administration is making it easier to fire career government workers. Trump wrote on social media the Office of Personnel Management will reclassify career federal workers as schedule policy career. Trump says that means they will no longer have a job if they, quote, refuse to advance the policy interest of the president or are engaging in corrupt behavior. Before the 2020 election, Trump signed a similar executive order that created a category for federal employees involved in President Biden. He revised that order and later finalized a new rule that bolstered protections for career federal workers. Still to come, we have some entertainment news and news on lawsuits. But first, Harvey Weinstein to stay hospitalized during his trial. We have what his representatives say Weinstein's condition is next. Friday, a judge ruled disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein will be allowed to remain in the hospital throughout his New York retrial. Weinstein's representatives say he had heart surgery last year and has suffered from multiple health issues. They requested he be moved to the prison ward at Bellevue Hospital from Rikers Island so he could receive the treatment he needs. Weinstein's retrial began this week after his 2020 conviction of a criminal sex act and rape was overturned, but he remains in custody. After the break here on Coast TV News at 6, as we take a live look into Salisbury, we have a final check on your forecast. Each Friday, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV. You can sign up now for our free Feel Good Friday newsletter at coasttv.com/sign up. You can start your Easter early if you celebrate with our Sunrise Sermons 2025. Services begin at 7 a.m. on Coast Country, 9:30 a.m. on the Delmarva Sports Network, and 10:30 a.m. here on Coast TV.
And we are looking very nice into our Easter Sunday. We'll start with a bit of cloud cover, and then by the afternoon, some sunshine. A bit cooler than where we were at today, about 10 to 15 degrees cooler. Low highs in the lower 70s. You get your forecast anytime by dialing the First Alert weather phone. Now, your 10-day forecast shows 69 on Monday. More clouds. We'll have a front coming through Monday. Few morning showers Tuesday, but otherwise, we're going to stay in the lower to mid 70s most of next week with a better chance of rain coming next Saturday.
Thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Be sure to join us tonight at 11. Until then, have a great night.